I've been such a big admirer of what you do with your music and with your career in general. Because for me, in all fairness, you've been very different from all the music acts that are making this sort of oversaturated market at the moment. Because with you, I always felt that rather than just creating music and just providing some sort of material in a conventional way, you more or less provide an overall experience where it doesn't feel like you're just putting some sort of essence and some sort of essence or messaging of music just for the sake of it. But to me, it always felt more like you have this sort of creativity and ideas in your head, and it just happens that through music, you're able to express it in the most accurate way, if this makes sense.
No, it totally does. So thank you for all those kind words, Hristo.
Of
Yeah,
course.
really appreciate that. And you're right. In today's age, there are so many bands out there that are perhaps doing the same thing or mailing it in.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they just, okay, it's verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, song done.
Mm-hmm.
But with nothing more, it's really important for us to take our time, especially with this past record, because of the pandemic and everything.
Mm-hmm.
We really ended up going down some rabbit holes,
Mm-hmm.
artistically, instrumentally, and yeah, philosophically for sure too. So I'm really happy with everything that came out, and it seems like the response has kind of been resounding, everything you're saying. So
Mm-hmm.
that's really awesome. That's definitely the goal. We want to make stuff that's different and honestly is all killer, no
Yeah.
filler. I
Yeah.
hate it when bands have, tracks that you just skip and it's like, oh, this wasn't very good.
Yeah. Yeah. And,
Yeah.
was it, I'm just curious to hear your thoughts in terms of whether your way of creating music and generating this product that we've been discussing has been a result of deliberate effort, or is it just your own approach to creating music? Do you when the process of creating music starts, do you think about making something different? Do you mean about create something that is very significant in terms of essence, or is it just your natural way of expressing yourself?
I'd honestly say it's a bit of both. That's a
Mhm.
good question.
Thank you.
Um, the songs and bands that move us are those outliers.
Mm-hmm.
The perhaps the songs that are 7 minutes long, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe the bands that are a little left of center. And it's interesting, the songs that stand the test of time.
Mm-hmm.
The legendary great ones. Stairway to Heaven and Hotel California and Bohemian Rhapsody, all of
Yeah.
those songs, just immediately thinking off the top of my head, all of those songs are like 7 minutes long and they all
Mm-hmm.
have personality, character, and a unique quality to them. So a lot of the times those are the songs that move us and want us to, man, we want to write a song like that. We want to have nothing more stand the test of time. Granted, a song just doesn't start that way. A lot of the times, if you can kind of hear where it's going to go. There are decisions we make along the way that it's like, I feel like this song needs to have. We don't need to go right back to the chorus right here,
Mm-hmm.
or let's explore what we're doing right now. And honestly, it's like we keep kind of like trying to like go in and then take a step back and then kind of like feel, okay, how is the ride of the song? Is this what
Mm-hmm.
the song wants us to do?
Yeah.
And when we all feel yes, we give it the thumbs up, this ride is what we wanted it to be, then
Mm-hmm.
the song's done. you
Mm-hmm.
know
And,
um and
and
sometimes it's a quick banger and sometimes those songs are awesome. The 2 minute 30 songs. I'm not saying every song has to be a Tool song and 10
yeah.
minutes long.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. And I must say that when it comes to new music from you guys, you're one of the very few bands that I'm genuinely interested to see what sort of new approach you would come in terms of adding a missive to your music? What would be the new theme that you'll be covering with your songs? That is an aspect that really excites me when it comes to you, because it's not just about music. I'm genuinely emotionally invested to see what you think and what you want to express. And I'm curious, and I'll be very glad if you can, just provide me with some details in terms of how the idea behind Spirits started, establishing inside your heads after, your previous album. What was the thing that, created the initial concept behind it?
Sure. No, that's a great question. And we do approach the lyrics and the all that content in a similar fashion. Dan, Johnny, and myself do write together. Most of the time it will start from one person, and then kind of from there we'll take a deeper introspective dive and really ask ourselves, all right, is that what we want to say? Is this solid? Is this a great idea and a point? And does it stand on its own outside of the music? That's really important to us. But getting started with this album, the song Spirits actually was probably the first song that actually gave all of these demos kind of new life, or really like, okay, this is kind of what we want the album to sound like. We want it deeper, darker, and I don't know, more of a journey. So that song was approached, I had never played 8-string guitar before. And so it was actually the first song I wrote on an 8-string, which is kind of fun. But just that intro and the riff and everything. And from there, Johnny sat with it for a little while, and just kind of the word spirits came to him, and he dove down that rabbit hole, explored it, and kind of talked to us about kind of the duality of things in regards to like a little bit heavenly and a little bit sick. Like, what are those things that are kind of, we have to accept that it's both angelic and evil. And kind of the irony of that situation. Like, we as people, like humans, a lot of the times we want to deny our not demonic, but our animalistic side.
Yes.
Or we want to, say, I'm not an angel at all. And it's like, but to be human is actually to be all of that. And we really have to accept all that. So I think that was a big theme of the Spirits album, in regards to, sometimes you're this spirit, and sometimes you're this, and that's okay. It's, you aren't just this one thing all of the time. As you go throughout your day and go throughout your life in different places, you watch yourself change, and your dynamic, your color shift, as it, creates a different color with a different person. And I think that's a big thing. A lot of us are really hell-bent on labels and titles to say that it's like, we're only this type of person, or I'm on the left side of politics or the right side of politics. And I think that's missing the point. I know I went down a tangent there, but I hope I kind of provided some insight for a big theme of the album, at least.
No, I'm definitely glad that you did, because I've read and I've listened to quite a few of your interviews just explaining this concept, and that's what really impressed me. Exactly, the thing that you've mentioned, because for me, it's also very limiting when the human nature just it's a very binary way of thinking. As you said, it's either black and white, or it's either left or right. And for me, this is just the way I perceive things. This is very limiting to who we are and what we can be as well. And it's a problem that I encounter, and I notice quite a lot in the way that modern human society operates. So when I saw that you were mentioning this topic and you're bringing white to it, that really, I felt really related to that. So that's why I was very curious to hear, what was the thing, whether there was a specific thing that made you think and made you want to express your thoughts on this specific topic, and what made you motivated to actually use this as a missive for your new music?
Yeah, and we really do try to have take from our own personal firsthand accounts, our experiences of things. So you actually know what you're talking about because you've been through something that's moved you, that's changed you. So like a big line that I feel like you're saying, and I was kind of referencing, is like, looking at the world with one eye closed, and you're expecting that it's like, yeah, this is the whole world, but you're missing this whole picture, this whole side of things. And that's not fair. That's not a proper perspective or interpretation.
Absolutely.
So I feel like, yeah, it's like when we wake up and we use both of our eyes and we just listen, and be open to everything, then it's like, that's how you can truly have an experience.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately not that, many people nowadays understand the importance of at least trying to be objective. I guess it's very difficult to not be subjective when it comes to the human beings, but it's just baffling to me how everyone is feeling comfort in just being, inside their own head and just not really being interested to perceive things from different perspectives, as you've mentioned. So I think your music,
you're right,
message in such a great way.
No, I appreciate that. That's the goal. And, even us in the band, we don't all think the same thing. We listen to each other, we argue, we debate. And at the end of the day, we all respect each other. And it's like, okay, I can understand that. Like, I don't totally agree with your point, but I get it. And that's what it is. It's like, man, for somebody to tell you that your experiences are false and the conclusion that you've arrived at is like idiocy or ridiculous, is really, really sad, and that's really immature. So it's like, this is whatever it may be. Okay, this is where they've arrived. Okay, if I went through those experiences, I'd be at the same place. So yeah, it's just really immature for like you're saying, a lot of people in the world to just like, nope, this is it.
Yeah,
this is all I have. This is my little world, and I'm right.
Yes, yes. The thing that baffles me really is that it for me, if, as you've mentioned, if someone, if I'm in dialogue with someone and he says something or they say something that I don't agree with, I'll be like, all right, I don't agree with that, but I respect it as a matter of, as a matter of opinion. But it seems that most people are just negatively perceiving any sort of a thought that they can't relate to. And, this is, as you mentioned, such an instinctive part of the human consciousness. If I don't understand something, I automatically just defect it. Which I think it's something that it's such a great topic about the human nature that to bring some focus on, I guess.
Yeah, you're totally right, and I couldn't agree more. It's, as you were saying that, I was just reminded that it's like real truth doesn't need defending. It's like, you don't have to, like, why?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, because people personify it, and it's like, it is completely who I am, everything about this. And it's like, but it's not. It's okay. It's okay.